Hello and welcome to another edition of Fours and Sixes with me, Swaroop Swaminathan. As always, I have Gomesh, senior cricket correspondent, with me. On the show today, the main agenda is, of course, looking ahead to the India-England five-match series that begins next week in Hyderabad, and over the next 7 to 10 minutes, Gomesh and me will look ahead to the series. Hello, Gomesh. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's been a while, and it's very understandable that we are starting this year with a video for the test series. It's always exciting for a new test series.
Just starting off, with the Indian squad, the 16-man squad. I think that they have picked for the first two tests. Any big surprises or just familiar lines? Maybe Shami is obviously the big miss, but apart from that,
I don't see any surprises because first of all, it's a home game, and it hardly matters any one or two changes that comes in and goes because the core remains the same. The bowling attack and the batting, and irrespective of who comes, they always perform at home. So no big surprises, but some really exciting milestones to look forward to, whether it's regarding R. Ashwin or Jasprit 500th test,
500th wicket and
500th wicket and 100th test, and Bumrah will be back playing a home test after a while now. And it's a long home year for India in test, so really excited for that.
And the other thing I'm really looking forward to is how Yashasvi Jaiswal. I assume that he'll open. I assume that Shubman Gill will be in there somewhere. When was the last time India went into a home season without Pujara and Rahane?
It's very hard to remember. I'm sure they did last year as well with the Sri Lanka series. Either one of them were always missing. But the thing is, it's very similar to how it was, say, 12 years ago. That's how I look at it because shortly after the ODI World Cup, or the year after the drubbing in England and Australia, India came back at a long year, home year of Test cricket, and VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid had retired, and in came Pujara at 3, and then Kohli at 5, and even Suresh Raina played a couple of matches against New Zealand. But that some of them missed out, some of them didn't stay, but that was the season where Kohli and Pujara made their place in the Test team, and in the next 18 months or so, Rahane came in and he sealed his place in the Test 11. That's where I look at, apart from all the WTC, all the exciting contests, this entire year and this series is the beginning of something new for India in Test cricket, where this year could be the make or break in Test cricket for the likes of Yashasvi, Gill, Shreyas Iyer even, who's been through a rough patch overseas.
Do you expect Rahul to start the series as keeper?
I think they might start with Bharat given the all-rounder strength they'll have. And also, I think keeping for fast bowlers and spinners are two different things, and Bharat is extremely proficient behind the wickets, and that's something they'll need more than the extra solidity they get in the batting, because Jadeja will be there, and if Akshar is going to be there and Ashwin is going to be there, then that's three all-rounders in home conditions. That's a luxury no other team has at this point in time in Test cricket.
I think it's more important to spend some time talking about the wicket keepings and really the makeup of the first 5 or 6 players. I think the bowlers pick themselves up at least for the first two. I think Bumrah and Siraj will share the new ball, while Akshar, Jadeja and Ashwin will do the bulk of the bowling. I assume maybe Kuldeep may get a look in sometime later, if and when India seals the series, or maybe if they want to produce run turners, Siraj or Bumrah may sit out and play with 4 spinners even.
Even in rank turners, Bumrah did really well against England, if you remember, in Ahmedabad. And Siraj is also a really good bowler in home conditions. Even right up there in contention with Shami. Like, even if Shami had there, I'm not really sure if he would have started or Siraj would have gotten the nod ahead of Shami. But yeah, that's the thing about this bowling attack, as we saw during the World Cup as well. It's almost invincible in these conditions, and in Test they only get more potent, and it's almost natural to any Test team in their home condition. But India, it gets even more just by the fact that India have not lost a Test series. Have lost only 2 in this century, and that says something.
Yeah. I want to actually talk a bit about the wicket keeping, and I think that's one of the main differences between the 2021 series, when they had Rishabh Pant, who just took Jack Leach on, destroyed him totally. This time Bharat is not the same kind of batter. I mean, you can argue like a similar keeper. but I mean, he did have his flaws in the Australia series last year. So, is that advantage England? I mean, it's a very minute advantage.
Well, India have Shreyas to counter the spinners, so they still will miss Punt because Punt has been.
And is that one reason why they may be tempted to play Rahul as a keeper?
Not maybe not in the first couple of games. Maybe if Bharat has a really couple of bad games, then Rahul might get a look in. But I think they will start with Bharat because if you are playing three extremely proficient spinners and you really need good keepers behind the wicket, especially in Indian conditions. And like I said, they have Jaiswal, they have Rohit, another counter-attacking player against spin. If he stays through the first 20 overs, he's going to take on whoever that comes along. And then they have Shubman Gill, who's still getting there, but then Kohli. But the key point here again, the emphasis will be on Shreyas and how he performs. We saw the game in Bangladesh where him and Ashwin saved the test match and got India home in a chase. So, and even Ashwin can play spin better as well, even though he's not counter-attacking, but he can play spin.
Yeah. So, do you think be Shreyas at 5, Aksar at 6, Bharat at 7, and Ashwin at 8?
I think Shreyas will be at 5 and Jadeja is likely to be at 6. But after that, it's going to be fluid depending on left or right and other factors that coming in, where they are in the match. But Shreyas and Jadeja's been the number 6 whenever he plays. So he's likely to be the number 6 at this point in time. But one of the things that I want to ask you as well, because the last team to win a test series in India is England, but this is a very different England side compared to the 2012 side. But there are some similarities in the sense that they had a method to victory and they stuck to it. That's how they became the world number 1 team. And England have their own method. There is a tag to it, Bazball, but it's largely a method and the philosophy that they believe in and the brand of cricket they are trying to play. How excited are you to watch? This is probably the biggest challenge they're going to have. They've not played an Ashes in Australia, but still, this is probably going to be a much tougher challenge than that.
The thing with labels like Bazball is that it sets them to fail so spectacularly, especially in Indian conditions. I wouldn't be surprised if the first test in Hyderabad, even if it's a good batting surface, I wouldn't be surprised if England tried to take India to the cleaners and then get bowled out for 175 before tea. I mean, that's probably what will most likely happen. I mean,
but it's also the kind of script they're looking for, right? Like what happened in the Ashes after 3 tests down, they were nowhere.
I was really hit by this interview that Ben Duckett, one of the most improved batters in this England lineup from 2016, who's going to be coming in. I think he'll probably open with Zach Crawley. He said in this interview that those 2016 pitches were. I mean, I'm going to be paraphrasing him, but he said those 2016 pitches were average at best. I think Ben Duckett, if he thought that those pitches were average, he is in for the shock of his life. I think those 2016 pitches were probably the best pitches in terms of sporting, at least, that India have given to a visiting team in the last, I don't know, like 12, 13, 14 years.
Last 10 years, that and the 2019 South Africa series, both had really competing pitches. But even that was very surprising because the Chennai Test match in the 2016, for example, they lost some 7 wickets in the last session of the last day.
But at least the one reason why I'm looking forward to watching this England play in India rather than the previous incarnation, the one that came in 2021. This England team will not die wondering. They will go for it. They will not mind if they lose a test in India in 2 days.
They'll have the moral victory.
Exactly. So that's one reason why I'm really looking forward to watching them. Of course, Stokes is coming back after like a knee surgery. You wonder how his knees are. Anderson at 40, 41, can he continue to do that? Jack Leach is coming back. He hasn't played a game for 6 to 7 months, so you wonder how his shape is. They bought in Shoaib Bashir, who has played 6 first-class matches in total. They bought in a 17-year-old leg spinner, Rehan Ahmed. So a lot of...
It's like every time they come to India, they have to pick some random spinners and see how they fare.
Rehan Ahmed is this extremely highly rated, highly talented leg spinner, but 17-year-old and leg spinner and in Indian conditions. I mean, you almost like are fearing for the guy straight away.
No. If you have to recall just from memory, who was the last leg spinner who had success in India?
I mean, even Shane Warne hasn't had much success in India. So I mean, it's a huge challenge. Of course, Kumble is one who mastered the conditions, but that was pretty obvious.
He's not a proper leggy, right? He's in his own way, he was different from others.
But then again, both Bashir and Ahmed will be encouraged by one fact. Indian batters love getting out to spinners who aren't really proficient. I mean, Jason Krejci, I think, came and picked up 12, 13, 14 wickets in a match. You had, I think it was Simon O'Keefe in Pune in 2017. Australia, Todd Murphy did really well last year. So, Indian batters do like giving wickets to the second or third spinner in that team. So, do not be surprised if something similar happens.
It's been a question for the recent years that can India play spin in general, because barring to an extent Rishabh did well, but barring Rohit and Pujara, the other players from the top, Pujara has been extremely easily the best players of spin in this test team the last decade.
Yeah.
But barring them, the other players have been Kohli, for example, have gotten out to an off spinner, or just spin in general.
Moeen Ali had him on toast a number of times.
Spin in general quite a few times. Yeah. But how exciting is it in a sense that these are arguably two top teams in the world right now when it comes to Test cricket. Of course, Australia is there at the top right now, but two exciting top teams, highly competitive contest. Sure, India might still dominate, but still, at least at the start of the series, it's still 0-0. Both of them are starting at the same point. Going into Hyderabad, you'll be there. What are you expecting there?
I'm expecting England to bat first and get bowled out for 150 or to 175. I mean, like I like Bazball. I like what they've done to Test cricket over the last 14 to 18 months. I know a lot of people mock the whole thing. I mean, and they're probably right for mocking it, because England have just, I mean, attacking other teams who played attacking cricket
without giving a label to it. Exactly. It's the label that's making symbols and the labels.
It's basically what England do in cricket anyway. They try to be all morally upright. Anyway, the thing is, I mean, the England team that's going to come here is almost the same in terms of the batting unit, at least the same. YJB will play somewhere, Oli Pope will play somewhere. Oli Pope couldn't buy a run in 2021. Basto had forgotten how to bat in 2021. Joe Root, once the pitches got harder, his form deserted him. So, I mean, these three will form like the spine of the England batting, but all of them disappointed in admittedly trying conditions. Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett give them outstanding starts, but I'm not sure that they will do that here. So there's question marks on each of those top 5 batters. Ben Stokes against spin in India, I mean, you don't know how that will pan out.
I'm sure somewhere during the series he'll have won that theatric century somewhere.
And ironically, in all of this, they're, at least in my opinion, that their best technical player, at least in terms of facing spin, and their best technical player in terms of keeping may not really play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just England in this.
It's just so unfair. Like Ben Foakes, he's been around since forever. He's their best keeper and arguably one of the better players of spin in that team, but still.
Yeah. So, I mean, in Hyderabad, I don't think the game will last beyond 3 to 3.5 days, irrespective of what surface India give them. And we have managed to do almost a whole show without talking about pitches. But now we will have to do that, unfortunately.
Before getting there, I also wanted to ask one more thing. The last few months has always about the ODI World Cup and how good the Indian bowling attack was. Like, how good it was to just watch them in action, purely as a sporting spectacle. How excited are you, or how do you look at watching the Indian spinners going about their business? Like world-class spinners, all 3 of them. Akshar has probably, it's basically a Ben Foakes of Indian team who has to sit out because they have Jadeja and Ashwin. And even Ashwin misses out when they travel. So
the thing is, I mean, I'm going to be biased here. If you're going to give me 2-day test matches, you give me 2-day test matches like what happened in South Africa, where the fast bowlers are at it all the time, where teams keep losing wickets to pacers who get the ball up to the chin, up to the shoulder, up to the head. When spinners do that to me, I feel nothing for whatever reason. But when fast bowlers do that, I feel like, wow, this is cricket. Like, I mean, that Martin Scorsese meme, this is cinema, like, comes to mind. I don't know how you feel about it, though.
I think I can have both. I mean, in general, it's just the bowlers. Of course, pace is pace, but at the same time, spinners and their craft and no less. Like, for example, the 2016 series where Ashwin was right on the top of the game, the dip and drift he was getting throughout. I remember one of the Joe Root dismissals where there is largely talked about. He came out and tried to hit him off actually, but it was caught in mid off or something.
Talking about Joe Root, when do you think is the first time that he will swivel and try to hit one over the second slip?
First session.
First session. Coming back, the last topic, of course, is probably the most important topic. What do you expect the surfaces to be like?
I think it all depends on how the first match goes. As
So
it was the case.
do you think Hyderabad would be a 2-wicket in that sense with the game going on to a fourth,
I don't expect
probably
it to
in the
be
fifth day?
I don't expect it to be the kind of wicket that was there in Ahmedabad 2021. It is going to be I expect it to be better than not better, different than that. But it all depends on how it plays out from there because it's home team, home surface, so results matter. And this is the year where India will play all their WTC matches every series from here on till the end of the year, where they'll have to travel to Australia where they'll be playing 5 test matches. So
But before that Australia series, I think they play about
New Zealand
nine tests in India. Is
they
that right?
played 10 tests in India, 3 against New Zealand, 2 against Bangladesh,
So,
and 5 against England.
With 10, there's a lot of opportunities to even make up for lost points. So, do you think that will probably mean that they may put 1 or 2 sporting surfaces?
See, that's what I'm saying. It's not even. I don't think.
When I say sporting, before you people get upset or angry or whatever, when I say sporting, I mean like an equal contest between bat and ball.
I don't even get into the point of desperation for WTC, which was the case probably last time around. But here, I think the result matters for them, right? They've not lost in eternity. Like 2012 and the one in 2003 and 4 of the 2 series, they have lost against Australia and England. So, India are invincible at home. There is no denying that, and they would want to maintain that at some point in life. So, irrespective of what pitches they produce, they have a really good team to win. How it happens, we'll have to see how Hyderabad plays and then take it from there.
Okay, interesting. Now I'm going to ask you for your prediction.
3-1 maybe, favor of India.
You think there's going to be a drawn test? Do you see that much rainfall or fog or something?
I don't know. I'm because 3-1 or 4-1. I think there might be a draw somewhere, probably in Rajkot or something. I'm just saying.
For what it's worth, I'm going to be going 4-1, especially if Stokes and Root have that one match where both of them make runs. Otherwise, I don't see this anything apart from being a final.
Yeah, that's what. Like I have a feeling that at least one match somewhere there could be a draw. Just either a 3-1 or a 4-1.
So how many matches finish in the second day?
None.
Third day?
Probably 1 or 2.
Okay, cool. That's all we have time for from this edition of Fours and Sixes. Thanks for watching. Do stay tuned to our YouTube channel because we will be putting out more content during all the days of the 5 tests. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.